Do you know how you get your monthly bill for your resource usage? You actually get it through subscription. Let me jump back to my portal here quickly. So right now I'm inside the Azure portal, and once again, if you create any resource, for example, virtual machine, and if you click on create here, the very first thing you will see here is the subscription. And this is pretty much same for no matter what resource you create. So you may create a storage, database, or whatever. The very first option you will see here is the subscription. Now I only have one subscription as of now, pay as you go. You might be using the free subscription, but the point here is, here you have the list of available subscription to you and you can choose one of them. Now what is subscription? Basically subscription is attached with your account, right? So your account may have more than one subscription, subscription 1, 2 or 3 or 4 and so on. So what this decide? This decide basically two things. First is the billing. You get your bill, monthly bill, against the subscription. So if you have 5 different subscription, you will get the 5 different bills, right? And the second thing is define the access to your resources, access control. So for example, if you're using the free subscription, you may not be really able to create a very expensive virtual machines, or maybe there's a limit that how many virtual machines you can create, right? Or your organization can actually put a limitation on this subscription. Then for example, monthly you are limited or restricted to spend, let's say $1,000, or you can only create, let's say 100 virtual machine, or maybe the virtual machine of this particular size. All of these different restrictions, what you can create, how much you can create, all of that, can be controlled using the subscription. So for example, your organization may create 2 different subscription, let's say for dev team and for product team, right? So they want to make sure that developer, while using development, they do not use very expensive resources, right? So they can put a restriction there. But for your production applications, they may not put such kind of restriction because they don't want to stop production because of this resource usage limit, right? So for these purposes, we can use subscription. Now, if you go to the search bar here and if you search for subscription, you can see that subscription as a separate service here, and you can go inside this service and you can see that right now I only have one subscription, but if you want, you can create more subscription here, and these new subscriptions will also be attached with your account. And if I go inside this subscription, you can see that I can see my monthly billing, my forecast. You have option, for example, budget. You can set a budget that, for example, I have 2 separate budget here for this subscription, monthly for $50 and yearly for $1,000. So if my utilization cross this amount, I'll get an alert, right? And similarly, you can assign the policies here. You can see the usage and quotas, permission. So you can do all of these different configurations, different settings, different restrictions. You can define the access, what kind of access whoever is using this subscription. You can define all of that using these subscriptions. Now let me jump back quickly to my slides here and let's quickly revise what we just discussed here. So using Azure require Azure subscription. Without subscription, you cannot use Azure, right? And Azure subscription is a logical unit of Azure service that links to your Azure account, and it allows you to provision resources. Without subscription, you cannot create resources. Subscription provide you the authentication, authorization, as we just discussed. It generates a separate billing and reports, invoices for each subscription. So if you have 5 subscription, you are going to get 5 different reports, 5 different billings. And you can define the boundary for billing and for access, as we just discussed. You can define the boundary, you can restrict those things, right? And you can create a separate subscription based on the environment, based on the organization, based on the billings. As we just discussed that using subscription, you can put more access control. So there may be a sensitive data which you do not want to have a particular team access to, right? So you can restrict that in your subscription, right? So you can create a different subscription based on what kind of access you want to give to the users. You can create a different subscription based on their organization structure, like IT, HR, admin. For example, HR, they not necessarily need to create a very expensive or a lot of resources, but to your IT team, you want to give more access, right? You can define those access according to the organization. You can define access according to the billing. You want to have separate billing for production, for dev, as we just discussed. And then there are actually different types of subscription. There may be a free subscription which you get when you create the new account. There's a pay-per-use, which currently I'm using, and this is the very common one. You get your monthly bill for whatever you use. And there's a separate subscription for enterprise. They create a lot of resources, very expensive resources, so they get a lot of discount and those kind of things. There's a separate subscription available for a student. If you submit the proof of your current ID card, which is active, your college ID card, you can get a student subscription in which you will get $100 for each month for next 12 months. And there are more subscriptions like that. You don't need to remember all of that, but I just want to let you know that there are different types of subscriptions available. All you need to remember for the exam is that you use subscription for the billing. This is important, right? And you can also control access using your subscription. That's all you need to remember. Thank you.